All right. So we're game planning for the Commanders while my dog throws a tantrum in the background. I'm doing the stream kind of late, and it's mostly because apparently everybody streams on Wednesdays. I haven't found like a regular time to stream, mostly because I have ADHD and I do things when I want to, and I don't really have a game plan other than I just do things when I feel like it. Grits, please don't do that, honey. Um, so hold on, I gotta deal with my boy. I don't know if that'll. I don't know. I tried wearing him out and everything. Um, so he's ruining my train of thought. Anyways, today we're talking about the Commanders. I have thoughts on what Pete Carroll uh, probably um, planned for yesterday. Because if you remember what I talked about, um, every single day there's a specific thing that you are supposed to do. And as somebody with ADHD, I don't really have a set schedule. A lot of people tell me, well, did you plan it out? Do you have a schedule? To me, I kind of go through life with, well, today is this day. And I live this day with that being the existence of the day. Meaning that if today is go to the mall day, all of my energy is dedicated towards going to the mall. If today is I need to work on my vocals day and get my respiratory system better, then that is what I am doing today. I like hyperfixate on it, right? And as somebody who is dedicated to their craft, there is something towards hyperfixation and then stepping out of that and then focusing on something else. Um, and especially if you want to keep a schedule throughout a very, very short yet long season, right? Because things come at you fast, and you want to be able to keep a steady pace. So, as we discussed, you have your past, which is game day, and then you have your present, which is Monday, and then on Tuesday, that is your past. Monday is your past. Monday is Tell the Truth Monday, where you admit everything that you did right, everything that you did wrong, and everything that you need to improve on, and everything that you can't improve on, so you just got to move forward. On Tuesday, the players have the day off and they need to rest or study tape or whatever they need to do. But the coaches, they spend time game planning, studying tape, getting everything ready for Wednesday, which is today. Now the coaches, they can't spend any more time game planning. That's Tuesday, right? We got to focus everything on game planning. And so the players, they can't be thinking about tomorrow because tomorrow is turnover Thursday, right? So if they make a turnover or something today, that's fine, right? We're focused on trying to get the game plan right, trying to focus on getting our fundamentals and everything. That's fine. We gotta get the game plan right. So let's focus today on figuring out what that game plan is, and then tomorrow we can talk about whether or not somebody's gonna turn the ball over or something like that. AKA, should Geno Smith be our quarterback? Should we get Drew Lock in there? Hey, is Baker Mayfield coming in for some reason? Like, I don't know why people are even having this conversation. Should Michael Penix be drafted? Is it Michael? I don't know his name. I'm more interested about turnover Thursday, being louder among the fans because of how often he's been turning over the ball. And that conversation I'm doing it right. I'm looking at the future. Today is Game Plan Wednesday, so we're gonna focus on Game Plan fucking Wednesday. So let's start with the beginning. There's a lot of talk about Ron Rivera. I already talked about Ron Rivera, I believe yesterday. Yesterday, I think we talked about Ron Rivera. So I want to focus more on the coordinators, because the coordinators ultimately are the ones who are making this thing rumble. Sure, you got the guys who are creating the philosophy and stuff, but they're not the ones pulling the trigger. And specifically, when we're referring to the ones pulling the trigger in offense, we got Eric Bieniemys, the dude from the Chiefs. And I don't think people talk enough about that. He's on the Commanders, and Sam Howell has been putting up some points. And he's got like Terry McLaurin, and he's got like Gibson, the running back. That's about it. And you might say, well, surely he's got like a good offensive line, but I was watching Hawk Blogger tonight, which you should check out. Go to Hawk Blogger, and they do like a Ben's Fun thing, which donates money to charities for autism. Check it out. Go to Hawk Blogger. They also do lots of great streams. Anyways, tonight, Nathan Ernst said you need to check out the number of sacks that Sam Howell has gotten this year on offense. I'm like, okay, whatever you say, Nathan. So I did. And they've only played 9 games this year. Sam Howell's played 9 games this year, to be specific. Whatever. He has been sacked a total of 44 times already this year. So to put that in perspective, if you've been watching the Seahawks for a while, you remember those years where you're like, shit, Russell Wilson has been sacked a lot. Like, this is way too much. And to be clear, like, there were some years where Russell Wilson was on pace to break some records. Like, really close to breaking some records. And then towards the end of the season, they shored things up and it was okay. I pulled up his career just to take a look at some of these records. So right now, Sam Howell has 44 on the entire season in Week 9. In 2013, which is the Super Bowl winning year, Russell Wilson had 44 sacks on the entire season. Okay, so he's tied up to the entire season. So that must be a low sack number for Russell Wilson. Well, the most sacks Russell ever got in a season was 55. So that was actually, it was kind of the median. The lowest number Russell ever got was, I guess it was tied. Technically, it was 2021 when he didn't play a lot of games. It was 2012. 2012 was there. Yeah. Otherwise, he mostly would get like 44. 41 plus is typically what Russell would get, but his highest was like 55. So at this rate, Sam Howell is easily going to surpass 55 sacks and put Russell's record. He got those 55 sacks actually in Denver. Russell got that last year. As a Seattle Seahawk, the worst number of sacks that he ever got was 51. That was in 2018. So yeah, Sam Howell's definitely gonna beat Russell Wilson's worst number of sacks as a Seahawk, but definitely gonna beat like the career record. So like he's gonna get sacked. Witherspoon, Adams, Reed, Brooks, maybe even Woolen, Jones probably, Mafe. You throw the name in the hat. Even Frank Clark might get a sack on this team. It could be another Giants where we just get 10. And I want to tell you, going into this game, A, to be prepared for this, and B, that it won't matter in this game. Remember, like, Joe Burrow in his lead up to the Super Bowl, how he would get sacked like 6+ times a game, and they just couldn't stop him because he kept throwing explosives. It's kind of like that, where Sam Howell. Well, first of all, he's not averaging as many yards as attempt as he did last year. Last year was 8.9, which is elite. This year it's 7. And his rating is, 8.9, according to Pro Football Reference. But it's mostly like his sack number is just probably weighing him right down, and in his interception rating he's got 9 on the year, so he's averaging an interception a game. He's almost up to 2,500 yards. He's just a passing machine. And when you look at these games, the games he loses, he's putting up 30 points. Lost to Philadelphia, 31 points. Lost to Philadelphia again, 31 points. You got this loss to the Giants, though, 7 points. Oh my goodness. Here we go. This loss to the Giants with Leonard Williams. He got sacked 6 times and only put up 7 points. That's interesting. He got sacked 5 times and put up 24 points, 5 times and put up 20 points. Oh my God, he got sacked 9 times and put up 3 points against Buffalo 3 weeks ago. And then last week at Arizona, 6 points and 6 sacks and put up 20 points. So it doesn't really seem to matter how many times he gets sacked. So I guess let's just shoot for 9 sacks and hope we hold him to 3 points. I believe Leonard Williams had 1 sack against him, but 2 quarterback hits when they played in week 3. Yes, that's correct. So this is an opportunity for him to try to double that. One thing to keep in mind, though, so you might think, yeah, we're gonna sack the fuck out of this guy. We could just shut him down. I don't think we will, and it's because I think that Bieniemy is gonna try to copy the Browns' game plan against us. Not like the Ravens. So the Ravens they try to get tight and try to spread everything around with their run game. And like I said, they want to get in between your arms, and then they want to punch between your arms repeatedly and open you up that way. Well, Eric Bieniemy does it the opposite. Because think of Patrick Mahomes, right? He was Patrick Mahomes' offensive coordinator for the longest time. He wants to spread the ball out in any way that he can, so that the defense has to be like, oh my God, I got to go over here. Oh my God, I got to go over here. Oh my God, I go over here, right? And keep them moving and keep them, off pace and off the quarterback, so that the defense doesn't have the manpower to blitz, right? If you don't have enough guys in the backfield to cover, then you can't send enough people to blitz. That, or you have to send desperation blitzes, which is just going to help your scheming. And then, B, if you're sending, crazy routes, combinations all over the place and forcing, defenses to show their hands to go to specific spots, it just makes things easier on your quarterback of any level. So here he's got Sam Howell, and they've had a really good screen game this year. Where's the stat I had on that? Did I not have the game? Oh, I think I closed it for something else. Yeah, they've had a really good screen game this year. And I don't know if you've noticed in the Pete Carroll era, but we've never really been good at stopping the screen or really having a screen. We've always done the bubble screens or like the little like flat screens where then, okay, try to get between the two guys. Not we're going to move the offensive line out. And then we're going to have the quarterback backpedal to step 9. And then on the 9th step, bubble it out. Like it's a pure timing play. We've never been good at those. At A, running them, and B, stopping them. Except for some reason, KJ Wright. And sometimes Cam Chancellor when he was really on it. And then the Browns came in a couple weeks ago. And that was their offense, was just those screens over and over and over and over again. They're like, you can't stop the screens, and we know it. We've read your Twitter. Your entire fan base knows you can't do it. We've updated to the times. Sorry, X. I guess we haven't updated to the times. And so get ready, because he loves to spread the ball out, and he loves to throw screens. And you know what Sam's really good at? Throwing screens. And you know what he's not afraid of? Getting sacked. So if you're like, well, yeah, if you throw screens, you're going to get sacked. He's going to get sacked anyways. And if you're behind in yards and you're trying to make up chunk yards because you just got sacked, what a better way to do it than throwing a screen? Teams do it all the time. So prepare A, we're going to sack Sam Howell. And B, he's going to throw a screen and then he's going to get a first down. And it's going to frustrate the hell out of you. Just be ready for that. And here's another thing. This is going to be an excellent opportunity to see if our tackles can beat the outside ends, because they don't have their outside ends anymore. Sweat and what's his name? Hold on. Chase Young and Montez Sweat. They're gone. Yeah, Sweat to the Bears and Young to the 49ers. So, but they were the outside containment players, and what they liked to do is they would play what was it specifically? They would play a 3-4 with them on the outside. And it was kind of it was weighted enough that they could play a 5 kind of like a 5-2 and a 5-1, which is basically a 3-4. A 5-2 and a 3-4 are the same. Why, you say? Because what happens if you take the 2 on the outside and move them 5 minus 2 is 3. And then if you take the 2 and then you got 4. So you got 3 and 4. So a 5-2 is basically a 3-4. Except the only difference being about 40 to 60 pounds added to the offensive line or taken away. Defensive line or taken away, because you want those ends to have the ability to drop into coverage or have the ability to have the weight to hold the outsides. And so Chase Young and Montez Sweat, since they were so gifted, Jack Del Rio, their defensive coordinator, had the versatility to do both. So if we're going to attack this team with our run game, we need our tackles to take advantage of the fact that they're not going to have that versatility package ready to go. So Jack Del Rio has a choice. He can either line up in his 5-1 package, which is basically like a cover 3, and where he has quarters coverage on the outsides, which would make sense because he's got DK Metcalf on the outside and Lockett, and he can make sure that the zones are all covered up, the lanes are all covered up, but you got this big spot in the middle is the problem. So it'd be like maybe man. Or he can do like a 5-2, and you got you got the 4 out there, and you don't have enough DBs covering for like play action. So he could also theoretically take those ends off and put linebackers there, in which case we would be able to run the ball, which is what we want to do. So Jack Del Rio has a choice. Does he want to stop our ability to pass, which we've been admittedly struggling with all year, but it's been a Geno first attack all year? Or does he want to stop the run, which Pete Carroll has been saying all week on the radio? Yeah, we want to run the ball. We want to run the ball. We want to run the ball. And then from the Ravens game, we weren't running the ball. We weren't even really trying, and we were bad at it. And then the Browns game, it was the same. But the week before that, dude ran like almost 30 times. And we've had limited effect all year, but when we do run the ball well, we run it really well. So does he want to be like, shit, I don't have my ends. Let's make sure that they don't like kick our asses, because on the other side of the ball, Chase Young just needs to throw screens on these guys, and then we have a chance to pull what the Browns did. If we can just stop their run. Geno Smith is kind of having some issues. Their passing game is kind of having some issues. Let's just make sure they can't run the ball, and let's try to duplicate what these defenses have been doing these last couple weeks, which is throw off the rhythm and timing of their passing game, and then they can't get the ball to the guys except Geno throwing and hitting our defenders underneath. And so maybe we have a chance to pick off the ball or get him to throw the ball late or early because his timing is all off. Maybe. Especially since that's kind of what their team was built for anyways, was they wanted to load up the box and have their defensive line be so aggressive. They were going to be a aggressive defensive front where they were going to have 5 guys there. They were just going to whoof and walk up at you. And then have their defensive backs man up and just, hold on for dear life for about 7 steps. But ideally, you wouldn't need it because your backs, your 5 up front would just enfold the offensive line probably by step 5. And if the quarterback wanted to reach 7, it'd be too late because the ends, who were so good, would have already beaten the quarterback there by looping around. And so thank goodness we don't have to play those guys, because that's what's been beating Geno, I think, often, especially on that right side, is Forsyth and company are just, they're getting teed off. And then when Geno's trying to, because remember, he's going directly vertical, straight back, and he's not taking the time on that fifth step to decide 6 and 7 to go horizontal with his footwork to avoid that pressure. He's just walking into pressure, and it's causing him rhythm problems, and he just doesn't have that, like Lamar did. He was just like walking and almost like waltzing away from the pressure. And linebackers and pass rushers are trained to go around the bubble and get to that 7th step. And so, if the Commanders cannot do that to us, they're in huge trouble, because Geno is going to cook them alive. And because all they can really do is stop the run, and then that defensive front is supposed to just, by stopping the run, make the passing game one-dimensional, and then just woof. But if those defensive ends can't even stop the run, and they're getting beat by Cross and Forsyth and Peters, that Commanders defense is screwed, which means that Sam Howell is going to have to play out of his mind. And he can do it. He's a better quarterback than whoever we played against, the Browns. That's how good that quarterback was. I can't remember who he is right now. So, I don't see us having, this is one of those classic get right games with, on Eric Bieniemys' side, the offensive coordinator, excellent challenge for the defense, considering what we just went against back-to-back weeks. This is going to be one of those. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, we got our butt kicked by screens, and then also we were having a few problems with Joe Burrow and stuff. This will be great practice for us. Let's see if we can focus on something that we know that we were having problems with. Proceed. And then on the offensive side for us, it's great practice because this team wants to stop the run and contain. And it's the exact problem that we're having is they want to kick our offensive line's ass. But they're not the Ravens and the Browns, even though they're really good. But they kind of did just get rid of 2 of their best ends, which is where we're having most of our problems. So we have an advantage to learn and to try to establish rhythm, which we haven't had all year. Because most of the teams we've played, they've had their ends. This is the first time we've had, holy shit, this team doesn't have either of their ends. It's like playing a team that doesn't have either of their tackles. Imagine playing a team like the Seahawks, who don't have Cross and Lucas one week. Oh, wait, teams had to do that. Suddenly we're playing a team like the Commanders, and they don't have their left end and their right end equivalent. I know that they have a left end and a right end, but when I think about it visually, right, the player on the farthest ends of the D-line. So game plan wise, as far as what we need to do, we need to, I've called it overload, right? But we need to run strong at those ends. And we need to, take advantage of the fact that they're missing a bunch of talent at those positions. And we have excellent depth. Do they have the same amount of depth that we do? I bet our depth is better. I bet our depth is fantastic. And not only that, Pete Carroll wants to run the fuck out of the ball. And if we can just get into that play action system that we need to, let's play the game that they want. Let's get into that quarter system, because I bet that our wide receivers like Lockett and JSN, more specifically Lockett, are going to have huge games in man coverage against quarters specifically. Because let's face it, in quarters coverage against this type of front, and the reason I say it's quarters coverage and why I'm so confident is because of an article by Mark Bullock. I have the link to his stuff down below. I recommend that you check it out. He broke down some film. He's gonna get covered in Tampa 2. Sorry, he's gonna get covered in cover 3. And the free safety is gonna cheat to his side. he's gonna have somebody cover him. Probably not impressed because he's gonna be too big. That guy's gonna be like a few steps off him, and then he's gonna try to run a slant, and that guy's gonna come in and join. And it's going to be like that type of game all day, where he's going to be running posts, he's going to run a slant in quarters coverage, and then they're going to have the free safety right on top of him, hitting him, right, trying to help that dude out just all day long. And then on the other side, you're going to have JSN running his drag routes and running his little hitches and things like that. And he's not going to have the release ready because I don't think his footwork is quite ready to get releases against most NFL corners. Just because, and also because of his point on the chart, DK is going to be the first read. And then it's probably going to be Lockett on read step 5. And then JSN is probably going to be the release route. So, sorry, JSN's just, that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. So then Lockett, of course, is going to get the other man on the other side. And since they play cover 1 and cover 3, well, he's probably going to be over the top of the strong safety and that other corner. And just getting these little chunks. And then going down and not getting any yak whatsoever. And so it might be one of those games where we hopefully run the ball. I would expect outside handoffs, outside zone, because when you got 5-2, you got like a wall that you've created, so you want to beat that wall along the outside. So probably some outside zone, and I would expect them to probably run off at Disley, and then DK is going to get those slants, and then probably not see, not see as much action as you would hope, unless he just starts beating that safety like a drum. And that's how I see the game kind of going, and I think that's kind of what Pete Carroll would want. Is we're gonna have DK take away this whole part of the field. And then that's going to open up stuff over here, and then we're going to run the fuck out of the ball. And because it's going to open all that up. And if we run the fuck out of the ball, then it's going to open things up for DK over there for play action, because that safety is going to have to go down there to help. And then DK, right, and because Lockett's over there, then the free safety won't be able to cheat anymore because because the strong safety will have to drop to stop the run on the outside handoffs, because if you're doing outside handoffs on the right side, especially if you're running strong on the outside, that strong safety's dropping in cover 3 or cover 1. They played cover 0 in the end zone, so keep that in mind too on play action to Parkinson or somebody like that. But there are opportunities against this specific front where if you play, I don't like running C gap where you're running along the outside. That's not my jam. I think it wastes too many steps, and it doesn't take advantage of, specifically, it wastes too many steps for offensive linemen. That's why I don't like it. But against this type of front, I think it's a good choice if they do decide to roll this out. If for some reason, Mark, that's his name, right? Yeah, Mark Bullock. He had another article that was talking about 2022, where both Sweat and Chase, they were both hurt, and at the start of the season, and so Del Rio had to get creative, and by being creative, he had to simplify everything to most basic, bare bones defense you can think of. And so they were just running basic 4-3 stuff, zone coverage, press, and Tampa 2. And with those, they're like, well, how do you send pressure with only 4? Well, they were doing simulated pressure, where if you got your 4 down defensive linemen, you drop one into coverage and then you send a linebacker. So if you remember a couple of years ago with Ken Norton Jr., he had Poona Ford playing nose tackle. And then every once in a while, Poona Ford would drop into coverage to cover where the running back was trying to drop to catch the ball. And that was simulated pressure, where he was taking the spot in coverage so that a linebacker, I think Michael Kendricks, could blitz, where normally that was his responsibility. And it was just some trickery, right? And so it was because we were missing talent on the defensive line, and so you had to come up with something, right? And so if it's in the same situation where they literally don't have the same players, Young and Sweat, we might not see any 5-2 or 5-1. We might not see any cover 3 or cover 1, which they've been playing all year. We might just flat out see we're going to play 4-3 and nickel. We're going to play Tampa 2 and cover 4. And then the season will end. We're gonna play Tampa 2 invert, where we're just gonna send corners from the outside, and we're gonna drop things just to try to be a little creative. We're trying to keep everything shelled and bubbled. We're gonna be as passive as possible and just try not to give up touchdowns. Hopefully the season ends soon. If that's the defense we get, we're going to destroy them. We're going to destroy them. If they come in with the 5-1 or the 5-2, at the very least, it challenges us because we are struggling on running off of tackle. Because our tackles seem to be having trouble setting the edge and pushing. And at least our guards are able to set themselves. And even though our running backs are having trouble hitting those gaps. And our running backs, they are good at running outside, but it doesn't matter if the tackles can't set the edge. So it would be advantageous if their ends could beat our tackles which we don't know if that's true or not. I already said that our tackles, I think, would win because I believe in our depth. But if they go and like, man, throw out our fucking defensive playbook, we're going back to Pee Wee. We're gonna win on that matchup. There could still be Geno's broken, or for some reason our running backs still can't hit a gap to save their life. Or Sam Howell ends up winning the shootout like the Eagles. He gets sacked 12 times and he puts up 40 points. Any of that is possible. But their defense, it's possible that they're out of gas. And really what's keeping their offense running, because they should be out of gas they shouldn't have had much gas to begin with, is the fact that they got an amazing offensive coordinator in Eric Bieniemys, and then they have a quarterback that listens to him and can take orders and take instruction and then do exactly what he's told. He's got like Terry McLaurin and Gibson, I think his name is Gibson, and like one other running back that they don't use. And then he's just out there chucking screens to him while getting his ass sacked 9 times against the Buffalo Bills. This game's gonna be great. Did I have any other thoughts? Oh yeah, they don't call it 5-1 or 5-2. No. You got to make it creative. They call it the Cinco Package. Does Del Rio call it because Del Rio? So he's like, no, it's my package. So Cinco Del Rio. Cinco a la Del Rio. Anyways, if I was Pete Carroll, those were probably things I would think about. I mean, surely I didn't break down tape, right? There were more things. But those were probably things I was musing over. We got our asses kicked by screens 2 weeks ago. This team does a lot of screens. They like to spread the ball out all over the place. He did things with the Chiefs, and that's exactly what they want to do over there. They don't run the ball. They don't like to run the ball. But here's the history of this. These are important things to consider. And then here's the game plan for the players. So the players today probably worked on, seam routes against cover 3 and cover 1. You got to be able to run straight up so that you can create tension against that safety. If you have DK running at the wideout position and he's bringing stress against the free safety who's trying to help out that corner, if you run a post or if you run up the seam or like a hook or something from the tight end route, you then create a conflict for that free safety where now they have to wait another second to see, hey, are you going to the wide receiver or are you going to the tight end? What type of route am I looking at? And they can't just cheat and dive right at DK every single time. And so it gives your targets an extra route. So those are like things that the players themselves can start to prepare for now that they have the game plan. They can be like, okay, we're focusing on quarters coverage because coach has decided, yeah, we're facing against 5-1 today. They're probably gonna do a lot of 5-1 against us based off of the tape and stuff that we've seen. So they're gonna do a lot of 5-1 quarters coverage against us. So DK, get ready. They're probably gonna hit you against the slant. So we're gonna do some walkthroughs, and there's gonna be a dude with a pad So get ready, because when you catch this ball, there's going to be a dude with the pad there on the slant. So let's just kind of get through the motion. They might also do some handoffs and quarters coverage. So we're gonna do like some walkthroughs so you guys get the timing right on handoffs and quarters coverage, because we've been having some issues with timing, DK. So if like one guy is covering you and then hands you off to the safety for coverage, let's see if we can get the timing right with you and Gino on that. I think that'd be really important. You see what I'm getting at, right? So that's probably the type of stuff that they worked on today. And then tomorrow on Turnover Thursday, they're going to try to put it all together and make sure that they can make no mistakes. Can't turn over the ball. And then defense on the other side against the scout team, who are going to try their best to try to be Chase Young and throw in those screens, right? In my mind, they're probably going to be trying to throw all those screens. They're going to try to the defense, our defense is probably going to try to get a turnover on a screen play. They're probably going to try to focus on trying to read those screens and anticipate when they're coming. I would expect, if I was the coach, that's Maffei's job. He needs to learn to make a move, and while making a move, also understand and feel that the offensive line is pulling, and to follow the pull while reading the quarterback, so that he can be in position to, if not make the play, get in the way of the running back so that somebody else can make the play. Because right now, if you just have a bunch of guys going straight at the quarterback, then it's a free play for a screen, and they just have a bunch of guys going at the DBs who have no one there to stop them as they rumble for 45 yards. So if you can get not only the timing of that right, you also have an opportunity to pick that thing off. So I'd like to see not only Maffei learn how to get in position while reading those, so that he can get anticipation and things like that right, and just have a natural part of his rhythm. I'd like to see Brooks and Adams and Witherspoon get better at sniffing those out, since they all kind of play in that area of the field where they're supposed to be like in the square up. Okay, dive. It's a screen. I need to be able to block, shed the blocker so I can get to the screen player, the guy who's catching the screen pass. And that, I assume, is also what was on their docket today. And what my game plan for them would be today. Because Sam Howell doesn't scramble. I mean, sure, you got Terry McLaurin, so you got like Woolen covering Terry McLaurin, but you know how you prepare Woolen for Terry McLaurin? You just have him do one-on-ones with DK all day, which he does every day anyways. So congratulations, he's ready for Terry McLaurin. Congrats. So other than that, I guess prepare for scat backs. They got scat backs. But you're already going to do that by preparing for the screens, because you need to be able to read the running backs. So, yeah, that's my game plan. Run along the outside. If they decide to go to vanilla ball, run along the B gap to set up play action like we always do, so that, we can get Gino in a nice rhythm spot. Otherwise, run along the C gap if they decide to, go all powered, and then try to get that offensive line pulling. Let's fucking go. Let's run the fucking ball on these guys. They want us to. I say let's do it. And let's get those one-on-one situations for our wide receivers that are clearly better than their defensive backs. And hell, if they end up doing quarters coverage, and they're like passing our guys off, that just means that we can run the ball even easier. I think I'm just reiterating the same thing over and over at this point. I appreciate you all. Like and subscribe. Share if you so choose. It would help out the channel. I also am very appreciative to Mark Bullock of Bullock's Film Room. You can find him at markbullock.substack.com. Again, I have the link to one of his articles in the description below, which I recommend that you read. And that is all that I have for you. You have a good night.